Hi, boys and girls. This is your teacher model for reading for Monday, January 4th. We are looking for details that support a certain main or central idea. So, we're looking at this little article about Mount Everest because, as you know, we are going to be in this new module. We're looking at extreme settings. And a lot of what we're going to be looking at is like mountain life and how that mountain climate and mountain setting is very extreme and harsh and really difficult to be in. So we're going to be reading this little short piece about Mount Everest, okay? And we're looking for specifically what details support the central or main idea that Mount Everest is too cold for life. Okay, when we do that, we're saying that it's too hard for things to live on Mount Everest because it's too cold. So you're looking for very specific details. You're not being underlining and circling everything. You're only finding things that show that Mount Everest is too cold for life, too cold for things to live there. So let's get started and take a look. And as you notice, this main idea and central idea ties right to your heading, too cold for life. These main idea and central idea are always with that heading. It's just that I took it and turned it into a sentence, okay? The conditions atop Mount Everest are hostile. Hostile means they're difficult, okay? Dangerous. Microorganisms such as bacteria can survive at the summit. The summit is the very top of the mountain, okay? Now remember, bacteria are things that are too small for you to see. But there is less oxygen at high elevations. Okay, so that's interesting for me to know. Now, less oxygen doesn't really show me about why it's too cold, so I'm going to keep going. This makes it hard for animals to breathe. Temperatures are also very cold. I see that cold word there. So let's see. Temperatures are also very cold. These conditions prevent animals and plants from surviving atop of the mountain. Well, that ties directly to Mount Everest is too cold for life. So I'm going to circle that. Because if I'm looking for things to support that Mount Everest is too cold for life, right there it says the temperatures are cold and it prevents animals and plants from living on top of the mountain. Not the bottom, but the top, okay? So that's one piece that is definitely a supporting detail for this central idea. And let's not forget the caption. There are different habitats among the elevations in the Himalayas. Now, what they mean by that is that elevations are different heights. So they're saying that at the bottom of the mountain, it's a habitat for certain types of plants and animals. The middle of the mountain is also a habitat for certain types of animals. And then the top of the mountain, as we're seeing, not a lot of things can live there. Okay? So let's look here. We're still looking for ways to see that Mount Everest is too cold to support life of animals or plants. However, several animal species make their homes at lower elevations. Okay, so we're talking about the lower part now. These animals live on Mount Everest have developed adaptations for the climate. So remember, that means that their body or their behaviors have changed so they can live there. For example, snow leopards have developed wide paws and thick fur. These features help the animals live at high elevations. So here it's talking about how snow leopards live on one part of the mountain. So if it's talking about how they can live there, then it definitely doesn't support this idea that it's too cold for life, okay? Snow leopards can be found between 9,800 and 17,000 feet. That means that's how high up they can be on the mountain. Some birds also can survive at high altitudes. The snow partridge lives at 18,600 feet. During migration, bar-headed geese fly over the Himalayas at 23,000 feet. Now, nothing that I read there shows me it's too cold for animals to live on Mount Everest. So I'm not, as you can see, I'm not highlighting anything. Okay, I'm only highlighting those things that prove the top of Mount Everest is too cold for animals or plants. Let's don't forget these text features here, this caption. Yaks' adaptations allow them to climb up Mount Everest. So, again, that's a live animal that is climbing. Okay, I don't see anything about temperature there. And this is a little information box here. Amazing yaks. Among mammals, the yak is best built for altitude. Altitude means height. Okay, they have 2 coats of fur. Their hearts and lungs are large. Enlarged organs are adaptation for less oxygen. Plus, their bodies have genes to help them use energy from food more efficiently, especially in the winter. These qualities allow yaks to climb up to 20,000 feet. So, this is all talking about how that yaks and a few other animals like snow leopards are found on certain parts of the mountain, which means that animals and plants can live on certain parts of the mountain. Okay? So that doesn't support that Mount Everest is too cold for life. I think it's mostly talking about the top of Mount Everest. So I didn't circle anything on this page, and that's okay. Let's look at the last page. Their adaptations include large lungs and wide wingspan. Oh, they're talking about birds still. The wide wingspan helps reduce the energy needed to fly. Again, I don't see anything in that section about temperature or not being able to live. The Himalayan jumping spider, a jumping spider, no way, has been found at 22,000 feet. No animal on Earth lives higher. Bumblebees aren't far away, though. In 2008, a swarm of bees was found above 18,000 feet. No insect in the world lives higher than the bumblebee. So again, this is talking about the height that they live at and not the temperature, okay? Plants cannot grow near the summit. Oh, okay. I'm seeing here that they can't grow. That means they can't live near the summit or the top. Now, to me, that does support it's too cold for life. Because if they're telling me that plants can't grow or live near the top, that supports that. But plenty grow on the lower of the mountain. Moss grows at 21,260 feet. It is the highest growing plant in the world. Lower on the mountain, plants such as wildflowers grow in the meadows. Farther down the mountain is scrubland. So you see that the further down the mountain you go, the more animals and plants can live there. And lower in elevation are the coniferous forests. These are home to pine and fir trees. At the base of the Himalayas are the deciduous forests. Animals such as rhinoceroses, bears, and Asian elephants can be found here. Well, that's cool. And I don't want to forget the caption. Plants have more opportunity to grow at lower elevations. Well, that makes sense. So I don't see anything other than this part that shows me that supports that main idea that Mount Everest is too cold for life. So that's okay. I circled just 2 sections, but those 2 sections supported Mount Everest is too cold for life, which is like the heading here. Okay? Again, I did not circle a ton of details. The only details I circled were directly supporting this central idea. Okay? Now let's take a look at your assignment here. You're going to read the text on the following page about cougars, which is another mountain animal. As you read, underline or circle at least 3 details that support the main or central idea. Remember, you're not circling like 5, 6. You're circling like 3, maybe 4. Okay? And here's your central or main idea. Cougars are secretive animals. So everything you circle has to support this central idea that cougars are secretive animals. Now, that can mean that they're private, that they don't like a lot of people or animals. It could mean that they hide things. So think about that. So you have 1, 2, 3 sections to read. And again, you only need to circle details that support this main or central idea. I hope that helps.